Get your weird brother out of my cafe before my customers lose their appetite. The glass hits tile. It bursts into glittering shards as if the floor decided to grow stars. The manager's tie is too tight. His smile is even tighter. He keeps wiping a spotless counter, just to look busy being cruel. Eli doesn't flinch. He's counting sugar packets again, soft, steady, like a metronome only he can hear. 8 blue, 12 brown, 5 pink. He whispers the totals, then rearranges colors into a quiet spectrum that makes perfect sense to him. Theo swallows hard. The whole room is watching. He tries to laugh it off like this is some quirky morning skit that ends before coffee cools. It isn't. We're leaving, Theo says, grabbing for Eli's sleeve. Eli doesn't look up. There are 3 more under the napkin stand, he says. Counts aren't honest unless they include what's hiding. A couple at the window snickers. The word weird travels table to table like a coupon nobody wants but everyone passes on. The manager leans in. Kid, this is a business, not... Whatever that is, Eli blinks. His eyes drift to the shattered glass. He scans, locks in, and breathes out numbers like prayer. 47 pieces, he says. 48 if you count the crescent under your shoe. Theo tugs harder. Eli, let's go, the door chimes. Rain-slicked light slips in and paints the floor with cold silver. Someone in a gray hoodie steps aside, phone half-raised, camera open, thumb hovering above record like it can't decide if truth is worth 20 megabytes. I'm serious, the manager says, voice rising. Take him out before I call someone who will. Who? Theo asks. It comes out sharper than he intended. The math police? A few laughs. Eli almost smiles. Almost. He points at the espresso machine. Your steam wand leaks. That hiss isn't normal. It will ruin milk texture within 3 minutes. The barista pauses mid-pour. She frowns, then glances down. A thin ribbon of white dribbles where it shouldn't. She turns the dial, blushes, and pretends nothing happened. It's fine. The manager snaps. It's not, Eli says. But you could fix it with a new gasket. About $12. The manager's jaw tightens. Out. Theo steps between them. He's taller, older by 2 years, strong enough to pull a sibling out of a small hurricane. He looks around and sees 100 little mirrors, phones, spoons, windows, eyes, all reflecting him. Not Eli, him. The brother who didn't teach the other brother how to be invisible. Eli, Theo says, softer. We'll count packets at home. Eli finally looks up. His gaze lands on Theo's face like a careful measurement. You hate it when I count, he says. You think it makes me loud even when I'm quiet. Theo opens his mouth. The truth is standing right there, already said. Behind the register, the tip jar rattles. Coins dance. Someone mutters, just go. Another voice adds, seriously? The manager straightens, triumphant in the way only small victories feel big. Eli kneels near the glass. He doesn't touch. He just maps it with his eyes, the way cartographers mapped oceans they'd never cross. There's a piece under the pastry case, he tells the barista. It's shaped like a comma. Maybe save it. Why? She asks before she can stop herself. So the sentence doesn't end here. Theo pulls him to the door. The rain greets them like a habit the city can't quit. They step into the gray and disappear into it, 2 figures joined by a hood and a hurry. Inside, the room exhales. The espresso machine hisses, embarrassed. The manager tells the barista to sweep properly this time. Cups clink. Conversations rearrange themselves into safer shapes. The person in the gray hoodie lowers the phone. Screen on. Red dot blinking. A reflection of the manager flares across the glass case. Bent, mean, smaller than he thinks. The camera's lens holds steady, patient as tide. A bus rumbles by outside, drowning the last of the whispers. On the counter, the sugar spectrum still sits in perfect order. Blue, brown, pink, blue, brown, pink. Like a flag for a country nobody recognizes but everyone lives in. The hoodie slips out into the rain, following 2 brothers who haven't realized the morning already changed, because stories don't wait for permission, and sometimes the smallest inventory becomes the biggest proof. Tell me, do you remember who was holding a camera when it mattered? Rain makes everything slower in Seattle, except rumors. By the time Theo and Eli reach the corner bus stop, the cafe incident has already mutated into a dozen stories. In one version, Eli threw a cup at the manager. In another, he started chanting numbers until the lights flickered. None of them are true, but truth never travels as fast as entertainment. Theo wipes rain from his phone. He scrolls. Sugar boy. The tag already has 40 comments. Oh, great, he mutters. Now we're trending for counting. Eli hums beside him, tracing raindrops down the window with one finger. There are 116 drops on this panel, he says softly. So far? Please don't. 1 to 17. One just joined. Theo groans. Can we not for 5 minutes? Eli blinks. Rain doesn't stop just because you don't like it. The bus arrives with a sigh, half empty, smelling of wet coats and impatience. They sit near the back. Theo's backpack leaks from the broken zipper, dripping onto the floor with quiet rhythm. One drop for every apology he hasn't said yet. A woman across the aisle stares a little too long. Eli notices but says nothing. He's busy sketching the bus ceiling with his eyes, murmuring counts under his breath. 42 lights, 4 not working. Patterns matter. Theo turns toward the window, jaw tight. Yeah, well, patterns don't help when people just see weird. Eli shrugs. Weird is just a word lazy people use when they can't name something better. Theo almost smiles. Almost. Where do you get that stuff? Books, Eli says simply. And Mom? They ride in silence until the bus hits a pothole large enough to earn its own zip code. Theo steadies Eli with one hand. The contact surprises them both. Thanks, Eli says. Theo nods, eyes on the rain. Just try not to make eye contact with humanity for a while, okay? Eli tilts his head. That's impossible. Humanity is everywhere, Theo snorts despite himself. You're impossible. I'm statistically unlikely, Eli corrects. The line makes Theo laugh. Quiet, reluctant, real. For a moment, they're just brothers in a city too gray for villains. But the phone buzzes again. Another notification, then another. The video. Someone's posted it to a local forum. Autistic kid counts sugar packets, gets kicked out. The caption reads like mock sympathy, but bleeds contempt between words. Theo stares at the screen. Who would even... Eli leans closer, reading faster than most people breathe. That's the same table from earlier, he says. The reflection in the glass case. Gray hoodie. Theo frowns. You saw that? You didn't? The bus jerks to a stop. Theo pockets the phone, his mind rewinding every second inside that cafe. He remembers faces, laughter, flashes of light, none of them holding a phone high enough to film. Except maybe someone wanted this out there, he says quietly. But why? Eli tilts his head again, considering. Maybe they thought numbers tell better stories than people do. The thought lingers, strange and heavy, as the bus rolls past the blurred outlines of downtown. Billboards flicker, rain blurs color into watercolor gray. Theo watches the reflection of his brother in the glass, the boy everyone calls different, sitting calm while the world decides what to call him next. At the next stop, an older man gets on, shaking rain from his coat. He recognizes Theo. Hey, you're the kid from that video, he says. Your brother's kind of brilliant, huh? Theo blinks. Wait, you saw it. Everyone's seen it, son. Half the comments are cheering him. The other half are arguing about what's wrong with the cafe guy. The man chuckles. Internet justice, faster than espresso. Theo exhales. For the first time that day, the air doesn't feel so heavy. Eli looks out the window again, counting lightning flashes far away. Someone's watching us, he murmurs, not scared, just sure. But maybe that's not bad. Theo follows his gaze into the city glow, wondering who the someone really is. Because every story needs a witness, and this one just found its first. By Monday, the hallway of Lincoln High looks like a news feed made of lockers. Someone printed screenshots from the cafe video and taped them up between class schedules and prom posters. Sugar boy, count me out, math Jesus. Teenagers love cruelty wrapped in hashtags. It feels cleaner that way. Theo walks fast, head down, pretending he's just late, not embarrassed. The sound of lockers slamming echoes like applause after a bad joke. "Hey, calculator boy," someone calls. Theo doesn't look. Behind him, laughter flares, sharp, metallic. He catches a glimpse of Eli near the end of the hall, standing in front of one of the posters. Eli's not angry. He's reading the comments printed beneath the photo like they're clues in a puzzle. "Probably fake," Eli reads aloud. "No kid remembers that many numbers." He squints. "Inaccurate hypothesis." "Eli, come on," Theo mutters, grabbing his arm. Eli resists. "They used the wrong font for fake. The F should align with the locker hinge." A snort escapes someone nearby. Theo's face burns. "Please, just move." Eli finally steps away, but not before straightening the poster so the corners match the tile lines perfectly. The bell rings, loud, merciful. They split for class. In room 204, Ms. Hartwell writes thermodynamics on the board. She's the kind of teacher who dresses like she's always half an experiment away from a discovery. Coffee stains, chalk dust, wild hair. "Pop quiz," she says cheerfully, passing papers down the rows. Groans rise like steam. Theo glances over. Eli sits 2 rows ahead, focused. The room hums with pencils scratching. Halfway through, Eli raises his hand. "Yes, Eli?" "This question is invalid," he says. "You wrote the heat constant wrong." Ms. Hartwell pauses, marker midair. "Excuse me?" Eli stands, walks to the board. "You wrote 418, but it's 41184. The difference changes the final answer by 0.009. That's why the math feels itchy." The class snickers. Theo sinks into his chair. Ms. Hartwell arches a brow, intrigued rather than annoyed. "And how do you know that?" Eli shrugs. "I read the CRC handbook before breakfast. Page 220. Silence stretches. Then she checks the book on her desk. The number matches. "Well," she says slowly, "looks like you just corrected me." Laughter ripples again, but this time it's softer, uncertain. The power balance has shifted by half a decimal. Theo watches as Ms. Hartwell leans toward Eli. "Tell you what, how about you stay after class? I'd like to show you something." Eli nods, unaware that entire futures often begin as casual invitations. After the bell, students scatter. Theo waits by the door, arms folded. Through the window, he sees Ms. Hartwell open a folder thick with printed equations. Eli peers over. The desk, pointing occasionally, lips moving fast like a violinist who can't stop playing once the rhythm catches. When he finally exits, Theo asks, "What was that about?" "She gave me another problem," Eli says. "It doesn't make sense yet, but it will." Theo frowns. "What kind of problem?" Eli taps his temple. "One that talks back when you listen long enough." Theo rolls his eyes. "You mean math talks now?" Eli smiles. "Everything talks. Most people just don't stay quiet enough to hear." He walks ahead, humming a tune that sounds suspiciously like Morse code. Theo watches him disappear down the hall, not realizing this is the moment their roles begin to swap. The silent genius stepping into light, and the loud brother learning what silence can teach. Somewhere down the corridor, Miss Hartwell opens an email from an unknown sender. The subject line reads, "If you want to see what he can really do, test him." And that's how mysteries start, with one message that no one admits sending. The lab smells like chalk and burnt coffee, classic sign of unsupervised science. Late afternoon light slants through the blinds, striping the tables in gold and shadow. Ms. Hartwell stands by the projector, clutching a manila folder. "Eli, you said you like puzzles, right?" Eli nods. "As long as they have honest rules," she smiles. This one might argue back. Theo leans against the doorframe. He was supposed to wait outside, but curiosity is a disease with no vaccine. On the whiteboard, Ms. Hartwell draws a series of numbers, 9, 27, 81, 243, then stops, leaving a blank. Find the rule, she says. Eli tilts his head. It's exponential. Base 3. The next is 729. Too easy. Good, she replies. Now, ignore the math. Read it differently. He stares again, lips moving soundlessly. Third letter of every word in your sentence spells listen. Theo blinks. Wait, what? Ms. Hartwell grins. I hid that on purpose. You saw it faster than the algorithm did. Eli frowns. Algorithms don't get bored. People do. The teacher studies him carefully. What happens when you get bored, Eli? I build better rules. Theo mutters, Of course you do. She flips the projector. A pattern of lights appears, tiny dots pulsing across the screen. Tell me what you see. Eli steps closer, squinting. It's Morse, but inconsistent. Someone tried to hide a word in static. Can you read it? He nods slowly. F-A-U-L-T. He pauses. Then a space, then M-E. Theo shivers. That's creepy. Ms. Hartwell looks confused. It wasn't supposed to say that. She checks her laptop. The original file was blank, random noise for a perception test. Eli doesn't move. It said, fault me, like someone took blame. They share a silence thick enough to write on. Theo forces a laugh. Maybe the ghost of Wi-Fi passed? Eli doesn't laugh back. He's tracing invisible lines in the air, connecting dots no one else can see. The error pattern repeats every 4 frames, he says. Someone edited this, today. Ms. Hartwell swallows. How could you know that? The timestamp. He points to the corner of the screen. See? 14:07:22. That's my lunch break. Theo raises an eyebrow. You memorize timestamps now? Eli shrugs. I like honest numbers. She closes the laptop, unsettled. All right, that's enough for one day. As they leave, she lingers behind, staring at her inbox. The mysterious email now shows a new line. Thank you, he noticed. Her finger hovers above delete. She doesn't press it. Outside, the hallway hums with end-of-day chatter. Theo walks beside Eli, trying to act normal. So, you just see stuff no one else does? Eli nods. It's like subtitles for reality. They're always there if you don't blink. Theo laughs uneasily. Well, maybe stop reading ghosts in projectors before we both end up on TikTok again. Eli smirks, barely. Ghosts don't trend. People do. They exit through the side door. A security camera above the frame swivels slightly, following. No one notices. Inside the control room, a monitor flickers to life. The footage of the test replays in reverse, lines of code scrolling beneath it. A voice off-screen whispers, "He's the one." Then the monitor goes dark, and the story, like every good equation, asks for its next unknown. Rain slides down the apartment window like it's practicing cursive. Inside, the Rowans' living room smells of damp carpet and microwave popcorn, the aroma of survival. Theo tosses his backpack onto the couch. You still haven't told me why you count everything. Eli's on the floor, arranging bottle caps into perfect rows. Because Mom said numbers are the only things that never lie. Theo sighs. Yeah, but people don't like it when you count them like furniture. Eli looks up. People move. Furniture doesn't. It's harder. Theo chuckles despite himself. That's disturbingly logical. They fall quiet. The old clock ticks like a patient heartbeat. On the shelf sits a photo of their mother, smiling. Lab coat dusted with flour because she used to bake while reading chemistry journals. Flashback creeps in, subtle as memory's breath. 6 years earlier, Eli, 8, stands at the kitchen counter counting sugar grains as they fall from a spoon. Sweetness, Mom says, is just math pretending to be magic. He giggles. Then magic has decimals. She laughs, a sound the apartment still remembers. Exactly. When the world feels loud, count something. It reminds you that patterns survive chaos. Lightning flashes. He flinches. She cups his hands around the spoon. See? Order and noise. 1, 2, 3. Back then, counting wasn't strange. It was safety. present. Theo notices Eli staring at the same photo. You miss her more on rainy days, huh? Eli nods. Rain has rhythm. She liked rhythm. Theo sits beside him. She'd like that you made a teacher freak out with math ghosts. Eli half smiles. She'd tell you not to call them ghosts. Just data points. Fine, data points. Theo leans back. Still creepy. A comfortable silence fills the room, stitched together by thunder. Then Eli's gaze sharpens. Her notebook's gone. Theo frowns. Which notebook? The black one. The one she called for later. It was here. He points to the shelf. Under the photo, Theo checks. Empty spot, dust outline. Maybe Dad moved it? Dad hasn't opened that shelf in years, Eli says. He says memories give him allergies. Theo laughs, then stops when Eli starts scanning the floor. You seriously gonna... Eli crawls under the couch. Found it. He slides out with the notebook, cover frayed, edges silvered by time. Across the front, a label in their mother's handwriting, ELI, sequence 4. Theo whistles. Wow, she named it after you. Eli shakes his head. Maybe before me. He opens the first page. Numbers, tiny and neat, fill every line. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Then jumps to letters. A BC. Stop. She used this pattern for bedtime stories, Eli murmurs. Each number meant a word. Theo peers over his shoulder. So what's it say? Eli traces the first sequence, lips moving. It spells watch, then him. They exchange a look. Theo forces a grin. Okay, this family officially needs less Netflix. Eli doesn't laugh. He flips the page. More numbers, denser now, almost frantic. At the bottom, one line underlined twice. When patterns repeat, someone's listening. Thunder cracks right on cue. Theo closes the notebook. That's enough bedtime for me. Eli stares at the cover, whispering counts only he understands. She left this for a reason. The camera of the world seems to lean closer, and somewhere, in a forgotten email folder, another message pings unread. Same subject line as before. Test him, because stories don't just return, they echo. The living room is a cave lit by one tired lamp and the glow of Eli's laptop. Rain taps the window like it's trying to send Morse code. Theo sits cross-legged on the couch, eating cereal straight from the box. You realize it's almost midnight, right? Eli doesn't look up. Time is relative. Yeah, well, so is sleep. He flips through the notebook again, muttering numbers like secret prayers. 3, 6, 9. Pattern of threes. But look, 12, 15, 18. Same difference. It's rhythmic, not random. Theo peers over his shoulder. So, she liked multiples? Big revelation. Eli ignores the sarcasm. When letters replace numbers, it forms a cipher. Standard A1 substitution fails because she skipped 21, maybe on purpose. Theo crunches cereal. You lost me at cipher. Eli smiles faintly. That's okay. I found us. He types quickly, converting sequences into letters. Lines of gibberish flood the screen. Then, like fog lifting, words emerge. Not all patterns are seen. Some must be heard. Theo frowns. Heard as in sound? Eli nods, pulling out his phone. Mom used to hum when she cooked, same rhythm every time. Maybe it's in coded tempo. You're saying Mom hid a message in a lullaby? Not hid, practiced. He opens the voice recorder, hums softly. The melody fills the room, simple, looping, hauntingly familiar. The waveform spikes in repeating peaks. Theo shivers. I remember that. She'd do it when she measured ingredients. Eli zooms in on the waveform. Each high pitch equals a space. Convert duration to Morse. Dots and dashes. Theo raises an eyebrow. And what does the ghost of Julia Child have to say? Eli hits translate. Letters appear, BOATHOUSE. They stare at the word glowing on screen. The boathouse? Theo says, at Green Lake. That place is condemned. Eli scrolls to the next line in the notebook. Under boathouse are 2 coordinates, faint pencil marks, 47.6769, 122.33. Theo whistles. Okay, that's officially spooky. It's data, Eli insists. Coordinates mean purpose. Theo rubs his forehead. Yeah, or the world's weirdest treasure hunt. Eli closes the notebook gently, like it might bruise. She left us a direction, not a clue. Outside, thunder grumbles like it's eavesdropping. Theo breaks the silence. You realize if we follow that, we'll end up in a horror movie. Eli shrugs. Numbers don't kill people. People do, Theo mutters. Eli stands. Then let's find out which kind. Theo stares at him. You're serious. Serious is just focus with better lighting. A reluctant grin creeps onto Theo's face. Fine, tomorrow, daylight. I'm not chasing your math ghost at midnight. Eli nods. Morning's fine. Patterns prefer sunlight. He shuts the laptop. The screen fades to black, except for one corner where a cursor blinks once, then twice, then turns into a line of text, neither of them typed. Coordinates received. The cursor freezes. The machine hums, fan spinning louder. Theo leans forward. Did you do that? Eli shakes his head slowly. I think someone's listening. The laptop dings, soft, almost polite. A map opens automatically, zooming to the same coordinates. A red dot pulses over the boathouse. Theo slams the lid shut. Nope, we're not in some hacker thriller. We're going to bed. Eli just stares at the closed computer, whispering to himself. When patterns repeat, someone's listening. Outside, the rain stops. The silence feels staged. And somewhere across town, a street camera pans toward Green Lake, as if answering a call only machines can hear. Because in every equation, the variable eventually looks back. The morning smells like printer ink and cafeteria pancakes, 2 scents that define every school's sense of optimism. Lincoln. High buzzes with pre-science fair energy, half excitement, half caffeine overdose. Posters shout, "Invent the future," in fonts that make the word future look exhausted already. Theo drags a cardboard box into room 204. You owe me big time, he grunts. I skipped gym for this. Eli, already at a lab table, is soldering wires onto a circuit board. Skipping gym increases your lifespan by approximately 2 days, he says. You're welcome, Theo rolls his eyes. So what exactly is this thing again? A radio? A bomb? A cry for help? Eli doesn't look up. A spectrum analyzer. It listens for frequencies most people ignore. Ah, so like your social skills. Eli smirks. Exactly. Ms. Hartwell breezes in, arms full of paperwork. Morning, gentlemen. I hear we've got the Rowan brothers teaming up this year. Should I be worried about smoke alarms? Theo shrugs. Define worried, the class chuckles. She scans Eli's work. That's quite a rig. What's the goal? To map ambient radio fluctuations across the city, Eli replies. Certain coordinates show unusual resonance. I want to find why. Ms. Hartwell frowns slightly. Unusual resonance? Energy that repeats when it shouldn't, she laughs. You make it sound like a ghost hunt, Eli nods. Ghosts are just unsolved data. Theo whispers, and you wonder why people think we're weird. By lunch, their table looks like NASA met a garage sale. Wires snake across notebooks. An oscilloscope hums quietly. Theo unwraps a sandwich. So let me guess. You're going to test your boathouse coordinates with this thing? Eli nods. If a signal's bouncing from that location, we'll detect it. Simple triangulation? Simple, Theo mutters, except for the part where we look like Bond villains. Eli adjusts a dial. If Mom left data there, it'll respond when I ping it. Theo freezes mid-bite. You can ping a building? Everything has a frequency, Eli says. Even places. The oscilloscope screen jumps just once, a quick spike. Was that supposed to happen? Theo asks. No, Eli says slowly. It answered. They stare at the screen. The spike flashes again, this time forming a tiny repeating pulse. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Theo recognizes it from too many action movies. That's SOS. You built something that gets distress calls? Eli's voice drops. It's not sending SOS, it's receiving it. Ms. Hartwell walks by, smiling. Everything all right, boys? Theo forces a grin. Totally. Just bonding over electromagnetic friendship. She raises an eyebrow. Keep the voltage under homicide level. As soon as she's gone, Theo leans in. You think the boathouse is sending that? Eli shakes his head. No, the coordinates were just a trigger. For what? Before he can answer, the classroom lights flicker. The oscilloscope pulses in perfect rhythm with them. Theo whispers, "Please tell me that's normal." Eli's fingers dance over the controls. It's syncing with the building's electrical grid. The signal found us. Theo backs away. Fantastic. Your project has Wi-Fi anxiety. The light's steady. The pulse stops. Just silence, humming faintly, like the air itself holding its breath. Eli exhales. It's gone. Theo slumps into a chair. Next year we're building a volcano, I swear. Eli writes something in his notebook. 3 letters, small but deliberate. SOS. Theo notices. Why write it down? Because data that disappears still leaves an echo, Eli says. Outside the window, the overcast sky flashes, one sharp bolt of lightning. Even though the forecast promised clear skies, the power blinks again. Just once, then the oscilloscope reboots on its own. Across the tiny green screen, a new message scrolls. See you at the lake. Theo whispers. That's not funny. Eli doesn't blink. It wasn't meant to be. Seattle dusk looks like someone dimmed the whole world halfway. Soft, gray, indecisive. Theo steers the family's ancient sedan toward Green Lake. Windshield wipers squeaking in protest. This is insane, he mutters. 2 brothers, one half-broken radio, chasing a text message from thin air. Eli, riding shotgun with a backpack full of wires, replies calmly, technically it wasn't a text. It was an analog modulation burst. Technically, Theo echoes, we're about to be murdered by analog ghosts. The GPS stutters, voice robotic and uncertain. Calculating, Eli grins. Even satellites get lost sometimes. Theo shoots him a look. Not helping. They park near the edge of the lake. The air smells of algae and nostalgia. A wooden sign leans sideways, city property, condemned structure, keep out. Theo eyes the boathouse in the distance. The roof droops like it's tired of keeping secrets, so that's it, he says. Mom's grand finale? Eli checks the small spectrum analyzer he brought. The signal's stronger here. Theo folds his arms. Or maybe your device is just picking up ducks. Right on cue, a duck quacks loudly, like punctuation. Eli smirks. Empirical evidence disagrees. They walk down the creaking dock. The water beneath is ink black, swallowing reflections whole. Eli pauses, eyes scanning. She brought us here once, he murmurs. Before she got sick. Theo nods, memory surfacing. You were counting the ripples. You said the lake breathed in 3s. Eli smiles faintly. Still does. Thunder rumbles far away, rolling over the hills like a heavy thought. Inside, the boathouse smells of rot and rain. Dust particles drift through flashlight beams, pretending to be ghosts. Theo nudges a broken oar. Well, congrats. We found the setting for every bad decision in horror cinema. Eli kneels near the wall, tracing something with his fingertips. She was here. What? He points. Carved into the wooden plank, faint but deliberate, is a series of numbers. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, A, B, C. Theo exhales. That's her handwriting pattern. Same as the notebook. Eli nods. She encoded this place. Theo shines the flashlight closer. The carving continues downward into a symbol. A spiral intersected by 3 dots. Eli whispers, she used to draw this when she told us bedtime stories. Theo remembers the napkin sketches. Circles and spirals she'd doodle absent-mindedly while humming that tune. He swallows. Okay, so either Mom's ghost has a graffiti hobby or she left us breadcrumbs. Eli presses his palm against the carving. It's warm, Theo frowns. What do you mean warm? Before Eli can answer, his device beeps sharply. The same pulse pattern as before, 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, echoes through the tiny speaker. Theo flinches. That's impossible, we're offline. Eli adjusts the dial. The source is below us. They both glance at the cracked wooden floorboards. Theo backs up. No, absolutely not. This is where rational people turn around. Eli crouches, inspecting gaps between the planks. Rational people miss the truth because it hides under dirt. Theo sighs, rubbing his temple. And irrational people fall through old floors. Eli pulls a screwdriver from his backpack. We'll be careful. Famous last words, Theo mutters, but kneels beside him anyway. They pry one board loose. Cold air rushes up, wet, metallic. The flashlight reveals a narrow hollow underneath, lined with bricks and old wiring. Eli lowers the sensor. The display flickers, then steadies into a single phrase. "Hello, Eli." Theo's breath catches. "That's her name for you," Eli whispers. "She's answering." The device hums again. On the wall behind them, the spiral symbol glows faintly, pale blue just for a heartbeat, then fades back into wood. Theo stumbles back. "Tell me you saw that?" Eli doesn't reply. He's already writing the sequence down, numbers flowing like a language he's fluent in but afraid to speak aloud. Outside, the lake ripples once, only once, as if something beneath had exhaled. By Wednesday, Eli's name is everywhere again, only this time it's spelled wrong on purpose. Hello, Eli. Ghost Kid. Wi-Fi wizard. Teenagers have a gift for cruelty disguised as humor. Theo pushes through the crowded hallway, the buzz of laughter following like a mosquito cloud. "Hey, Rowan!" a kid yells. "Tell your brother to fix my phone connection." Heard he talks to satellites now. More laughter. Theo keeps his head down. He finds Eli at his locker, quietly arranging textbooks by color spectrum. Red, orange, yellow, perfect gradient. "Don't," Theo says. "Don't what?" "Don't give them material," Eli blinks. "They already have material. They just misinterpret it," Theo exhales. "Can't you be, I don't know, normal for one day?" Eli tilts his head. "Define normal." Theo rubs his face. "Forget it." Behind them, two seniors snicker. "Careful, man. He might talk to your toaster." Eli doesn't react. Theo does. He turns, ready to say something stupid and loud, something Mom wouldn't be proud of, when a voice interrupts. "Boys," says Principal Cole, appearing like a plot twist no one asked for. "My office now." The office smells of burnt coffee and bureaucracy. Principal Cole gestures to the two chairs. "There's a rumor," he begins, "that you, Eli, may have tampered with school equipment. Computers, power lines, possibly the fire alarm." Theo sits up. "That's ridiculous. We were at home." Cole sighs. "I'd love to believe that, but last night our security system went haywire. Cameras looped for exactly 3 minutes. And during that loop, the words, 'Hello, Eli' appeared on every monitor in the West Wing." Theo's stomach drops. "What? How?" Cole raises a hand. "I'm not accusing. I'm asking. Does that phrase mean anything to you?" Eli nods slowly. "It's personal." Theo elbows him. "Eli!" Cole leans forward. "Personal how?" Eli's tone is calm, almost clinical. "It's something my mother wrote before she passed. That stills the room." Cole softens. "I see. I didn't know." He clears his throat. "Nevertheless, the timing is odd. I'll need to restrict your project until we understand what's happening." Eli frowns. Restricting knowledge never stops it. Theo jumps in. "He means we'll cooperate, sir. Totally. Zero ghost hacking from now on." Cole nods. "Good. Go to class. And Eli, try to stay off the grid, yes?" Ellie reeses. "The grid's where the patterns live," Theo mutters. He's kidding. Humor runs in the family. They leave before the principal can decide whether to laugh or suspend them. At lunch, the cafeteria hums with gossip. Theo sits beside Eli, who's quietly sketching the spiral symbol on a napkin. "Maybe we should lay low," Theo says. "People are getting freaked out." Eli keeps drawing. "Fear's just curiosity without instructions." Theo sighs. "You really need a PR team." Then, without warning, the intercom crackles to life. Shrill, metallic. Students glance up. The mic hisses once, twice. Then a voice, mechanical, distant, fills the room. "Hello, Eli." Forks freeze midair. A teacher drops her tray. Theo stares at his brother. "Please tell me that was you." Eli shakes his head slowly. The intercom cuts to static. Lights flicker once, then calm. Someone laughs nervously. "Nice one, Rowan." Another voice. "Seriously, man, how'd you do that?" Theo stands. "He didn't." Eli whispers something only he can hear. It found another channel. Theo swallows. Another what? Eli folds the napkin, tucks it into his pocket. Signal's moving. From circuits to people. Theo blinks. That's not possible. Eli meets his eyes. Neither was Mom's message. Outside, thunder rolls again. Even though the forecast still swears the sky is clear. The gym smells like floor polish and adrenaline. Students crowd the bleachers. Phones ready, waiting for something viral. Whether it's a dunk or a disaster, Theo's team is down by 6. He's sweating, frustrated, scanning the crowd. Near the baseline, Eli sits on the bench beside the cheer team's water cooler, small notebook open, pencil moving in steady rhythm. Theo mouths, "Don't." Eli pretends not to notice. He's writing numbers again, sequences that match the flashing scoreboard lights. From the stands, a voice shouts, "Yo, Wi-Fi wizard! Make the hoop glow!" Laughter erupts. Another kid adds, "Or crash the scoreboard again, freak!" Theo freezes mid-dribble. The laughter burns worse than any foul. He looks toward Eli, expecting him to shrink. Instead, Eli looks calm, almost analytical, eyes following light patterns across the ceiling beams. The buzzer shrieks, longer than normal. Lights flicker once, twice, 3 times. Then the speakers pop alive. "Hello, Eli." The sound booms across the gym, mechanical and cold. Silence follows, sharp, collective. Theo's teammates glance around. One whispers, "Bro, what did your brother just do?" Theo grits his teeth. Nothing. "That wasn't him," coach shouts. "Time out!" Players retreat to the bench. Theo storms to Eli. "Did you touch anything?" Eli shakes his head. "It's responding to energy spikes. The pattern's identical to last night." Theo snaps, "You can't talk patterns right now." Eli meets his eyes. "I'm not scared, you are." Theo opens his mouth, closes it again. He is scared of ridicule, of being associated with the weird kid who breaks physics just by existing. Then something changes, a low hum from the lights. Growing louder, pulsing in rhythm with Eli's pencil tapping. Students gasp. The bulbs brighten, too bright, white flooding the court. For a second, it's like standing inside lightning. Theo shields his eyes. "Eli!" Eli drops the pencil. The hum stops. Lights flicker back to normal, humming softly as if nothing happened. A beat of stunned silence. Then laughter, uneasy but rising. "Holy crap, did you see that?" Someone yells. He actually did it? Phones go up. Camera flashes like fireflies. Theo glares at them. "Stop recording!" No one listens. A kid from the rival team smirks. "Yo, Rowan, your brother's Tesla with anxiety." The laughter spikes again. Something in Theo finally breaks. He steps forward, voice loud and raw. "Shut up!" The echo cuts the noise. Even the scoreboard seems to pause. "He's smarter than any of you," Theo says, pointing. "He's not weird. He's wired. That's how his brain works. You mock what you don't understand." Eli watches him quietly, expression unreadable. Coach begins to speak, but the gym lights dim once more. This time, a single spotlight flickers above Eli, steady, warm. The sound system hums again, but softer, like a whisper from a memory. A female voice, gentle, broken by static, says, "Proud of you." "Both," Theo freezes. He knows that voice. So does Eli. His pencil rolls off the bench, clattering against the floor. Students murmur, unsure whether to be amazed or afraid. Theo whispers, "Mom?" The microphone crackles, then dies. The scoreboard resets itself to 0 draw. Phones keep recording. Above the bleachers, one security camera tilts slightly, zooms in on Eli, then locks focus. Its recording light glows brighter than before, steady, watching. Theo looks up. "Who's filming us?" Eli answers softly, "Not who, what." The gym lights fade back to normal. But every phone that caught the moment replays the same strange image later, a ring of faint blue light circling. Eli like a halo made of code. The lab is quiet except for the steady tick of a wall clock that sounds too confident for its own good. Sunlight leaks through half-closed blinds, slicing the dust into golden lines. Miss Hartwell stands beside a table crowded with sensors and laptops. "All right," she says softly. No cameras, no audience. Just us, Theo shifts uneasily. And a few dozen machines that might explode, she smiles. Only if your brother's as powerful as the rumors say. Eli sits on a stool, calm as ever. Wires run from the devices to a small pulse sensor on his wrist. You're testing biofeedback, he says. Heart rate, temperature, galvanic response. It's routine? Exactly, she replies. If anything unusual happens, we'll see it. Theo glances around. Define unusual. Ms. Hartwell gestures to the monitor. This program records environmental changes too, light shifts, magnetic variations, even sound frequencies. If the signal reappears, we'll know it. Eli nods. Patterns leave footprints. Theo mutters. So do ghosts. For a while, nothing happens. Eli breathes steadily, fingers tapping on his knee in silent rhythm. Ms. Hartwell studies the graphs. You have a very low stress response, she says. Even under pressure, Eli shrugs. I don't feel pressure, just math. Theo snorts. Try feeling public humiliation sometime. It's fun. Eli glances at him. I didn't want to embarrass you. That disarms Theo faster than any apology could. Yeah, well, you didn't. You scared me, that's all. Fear is data, too, Eli says quietly. It tells you where to look next. Ms. Hartwell hides a smile. He's right. She adjusts a dial. Now, Eli, can you try focusing on the frequency you detected at the gym? Think about that pulse pattern. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Eli closes his eyes. Okay. Seconds pass. The room feels smaller, air thicker. One monitor blinks once, another flickers. Theo whispers, teacher? Is it supposed to— Shh. Eli's breathing deepens. The pulse on the screen mirrors it perfectly. Then the sensor emits a soft chime. SOS. Theo's jaw drops. He's doing it again. Ms. Hartwell leans forward, whispering, Eli, what are you thinking about right now? He opens his eyes slowly. Mom's voice. The lights dim. Every graph on the monitor spikes simultaneously. Then, through the lab speakers, a faint tone hums. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Theo steps closer. That's it, the pattern. But this time, the waveform on the monitor shows no incoming signal. Instead, a new line glows red. Outgoing transmission, Ms. Hartwell blinks. Wait, Eli, you're sending it. He frowns. I'm not, Theo points to the graph. You totally are. Look, source, node ELI. That's literally your name. Eli stares at the monitor. It's the device ID. She coded it into the program. Your mom? He nods. She built this system. Hartwell was her colleague. The teacher's face pales. That's impossible. I met her only once, at a conference. She trails off, eyes distant. But she gave me a USB drive, said it was research for later. Theo mutters, she really loved that word. Eli whispers, this isn't about messages, it's a relay. A what? A bridge. Between her system and me, between frequencies and memory. The speakers crackle. The same gentle female voice returns. Clearer now, not goodbye, just data traveling home. Theo's eyes sting. That's Mom. Ms. Hartwell covers her mouth, staring at the monitor where the red line fades into white noise. The clock ticks again, louder than before. Eli removes the sensor calmly. Test complete. Theo looks at him. You okay? Eli nods. She's gone now. Ms. Hartwell exhales. Maybe not gone. Maybe just translated. On the monitor, a final line types itself, unprompted. Hello, Theo? Theo freezes. Eli smiles faintly. Looks like she learned a new channel. The auditorium smells like coffee, floor wax, and redemption. Half the school crams into the seats. The rest hover at the doors, phones ready for the next headline. Principal Cole stands at the podium, shuffling papers he probably won't read. "We're here," he begins, "to address certain unusual events." Laughter ripples through the crowd. Ms. Hartwell, standing beside him, raises a hand. "Before we start, I'd like to clarify. No one was harmed, and the only thing haunted in this building is our Wi-Fi." Scattered chuckles. Tension softens. In the front row, Eli sits quietly between Theo and Mrs. Kendra, the cafe owner who once threw them out. She looks smaller now, her confidence steeped down like cold coffee. Cole clears his throat. "Miss Kendra has something she'd like to say." She steps forward, voice trembling at first. "When those boys came into my cafe, I didn't see who they were. I just saw noise, difference, and I thought pushing them away would keep my place quiet." She exhales. Turns out silence isn't peace, it's guilt echoing. A few murmurs from the students. She looks directly at Eli. "You were right about the steam wand. It leaked. I fixed it." Her lips curve into a fragile smile. "Thank you for seeing what I didn't." Eli nods politely. "You're welcome." Theo studies his brother. No anger, no triumph, just grace in its purest, most mathematical form. Ms. Hartwell steps up next. For those still confused, the signal wasn't magic. It was data, an old experimental system Eli's mother helped design. It stored fragments of her research and maybe something more personal. A hush falls. "She wasn't just a scientist," Hartwell continues. "She was a mother teaching her child how to listen." Theo feels a lump rise in his throat. The projector behind the stage flickers to life, displaying still frames of the data logs, the spirals, the timestamps, the coded messages. Hartwell points to one. "Hello, Theo." "This," she says softly, "was the final output. Not a glitch. A greeting." Students lean forward, expressions shifting from ridicule to awe. A hand rises from the back. "So, he really talked to his mom through the code?" Hartwell smiles. "Maybe not talked. Maybe understood her better than we ever could." The principal nods solemnly. "Then we owe both of them an apology." He turns toward Eli. "On behalf of the school, I'm sorry for how we treated you. For every laugh, every whisper. You showed us that being different isn't broken. It's brilliant." Applause starts hesitantly, then grows, slow claps blooming into thunder. Theo feels the vibration in his chest. He leans closer to Eli. "Told you, wired, not weird." Eli almost laughs. Statistically improbable but accurate. Mrs. Kendra wipes her eyes. "You know, I'd like to name a drink after you at the cafe. The Spectrum Latte." Theo groans. Please don't encourage him. Laughter breaks the solemn air. The projector hums louder, unnoticed at first. Then the speakers crackle. A voice, not mechanical this time, but familiar, plays through the system. It's Theo's voice, recorded from days ago. "He's smarter than any of you. You mock what you don't understand." Gasps ripple across the auditorium. Theo stares at the screen. "I didn't send that." Hartwell checks the panel. The system's replaying stored audio. It's choosing moments tied to emotional resonance. Eli watches the waveform fade. It's learning from us. Principal Cole exhales. "Then I'd say class dismissed." Everyone laughs, but quietly this time, as if afraid to drown out the echo of something larger than science. The lights brighten. Students begin to file out, whispering new stories that sound a lot like respect. Eli stays seated, looking up at the blank projector screen. For a moment, it flickers again. One last line of text. "Proud of you both." Theo places a hand on his brother's shoulder. "Guess data really can travel home." Eli smiles. "Only if someone's willing to listen." Night in Seattle feels softer after storms, like the city exhales once it's forgiven itself. The Rowans' apartment glows with the kind of peace that doesn't announce itself. It just settles. Theo sits on the couch, Laptop open but forgotten. Eli's at the desk, unscrewing the last piece of his homemade spectrum analyzer. "You sure you want to take it apart?" Theo asks. Eli nods. "It did its job." Theo leans back. "Yeah, haunted half the school, fixed our reputation, made Mom proud. Not bad for a few wires and insomnia." Eli smiles faintly. "Mom said technology's just empathy with better hardware." Theo chuckles. "She also said teenagers are emotional science experiments." Then we passed. The rain outside keeps a lazy rhythm against the window. Familiar, like an old song replayed just to prove it still remembers the lyrics. Eli folds the last wire neatly, labeling each part before placing it in a box. "Patterns should rest too," he says. Theo watches him work. "You know, I used to wish you were more like everyone else." Eli doesn't look up. "That would have been statistically unfortunate." Theo laughs. "Yeah, now I think everyone else should be a little more like you." Silence lingers, comfortable this time. On the table lies their mother's black notebook, pages curled from use. Theo opens it, scanning the final lines. Between formulas and sketches, a single handwritten sentence stands alone. "When they learn to listen, the world will hum again." He traces the words with his thumb. "She knew, didn't she?" Eli nods. "She always knew. She built the system to teach listening." Theo looks up. "To teach it to who?" Eli gestures around. "Everyone." We just happen to be the loudest class. That earns a real laugh from Theo, tired, grateful. Later, he finds Eli on the balcony, laptop balanced on his knees, rain misting against his hair. The screen glows with lines of code, green text flowing like poetry. "What's that?" Theo asks. "A message," Eli says. "For later," Theo frowns. "Later for who?" Eli shrugs. "Maybe for someone who needs to find their own pattern." He hits enter. The code saves, compresses, and vanishes into an encrypted folder. Theo leans against the railing. "So that's it? You're done chasing signals?" Eli nods. The signal became memory, and memory doesn't need chasing. It needs keeping. Below them, the city hums. Neon signs blink like tired stars. The traffic lights sync to perfect intervals, as if the whole place learned rhythm overnight. Theo says quietly, "You know, for years I thought different meant broken. Turns out it just means brave." Eli glances at him. "That's a good equation." "Yeah." "Balanced," Eli says. "One variable of fear, one of understanding." They stand there, watching raindrops scatter city lights into constellations. For the first time, neither of them counts. Hours later, when the apartment goes still, the old laptop on the desk wakes by itself, screen black, cursor blinking, then words appear, slow, deliberate. "For later, Rowan legacy file created." A soft tone hums, almost musical, syncing with the rain outside. And in that moment, somewhere deep in the city's circuits, a faint pulse begins again. 3 short. 3 long, 3 short, only this time, no one's afraid of the sound. Because now they know what it means. It means home. Morning returns like an apology, the sky actually means. The city glows softer now. Wet pavement, clean air, a quiet hum that sounds suspiciously like relief. At Lincoln High, the hallways are different. The posters once mocking Eli have been replaced by a mural painted by students, a spiral made of numbers, each one a color, circling into the words, "Seeing isn't knowing." Below it, a quote in chalk. "Autism isn't a flaw in the code. It's another language worth learning." Ms. Hartwell stands nearby, smiling as kids take photos, not for gossip this time, but pride. Across town, Harbor and Steam Cafe opens early. Mrs. Kendra wipes the counter that once reflected her worst moment. Now a framed photo hangs above it. 2 brothers at the science fair, grinning awkwardly. Under the picture, a small sign reads, "The Spectrum Latte," for those who see the world differently. A customer asks, "What's with the name?" Kendra smiles. A reminder that sweetness comes in more than one formula. The customer nods, takes a sip, and leaves the tip jar fuller than usual. At home, Theo prepares for school. Eli's at the table, humming softly while adjusting the watch he rebuilt from spare parts. It flashes once, a steady blue pulse, then goes still. Theo grabs his backpack. "So, scientist, any more secret messages waiting to haunt me today?" Eli shakes his head. "No messages. Just echoes." "Good," Theo says. "Let's make them worth hearing." They share a look that says more than brothers usually do out loud. Later that week, a small community podcast runs a story. Two teens in Seattle turned viral ridicule into a lesson about empathy and innovation. Clips from the assembly play. Theo's speech, his defense of Eli, spreads online again. But this time the comments section looks different. "I wish I'd stood up for my brother like that. As a teacher, I'm rethinking what special needs means. Maybe genius just hides behind patterns we're too loud to notice." In a world addicted to noise, the Rowans taught people how to listen. At Green Lake, the condemned boathouse stands quieter than before. Someone, no one knows who, has repaired part of the roof. Inside, on the wooden beam where the carving once was, new initials appear, T+E. When the wind hits the lake just right, it carries a low hum, 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. So faint you might mistake it for the sound of distant oars. Maybe it's science. Maybe it's something we don't have words for yet. That night, Theo narrates over soft city footage, streetlights, reflections, people passing each other without realizing how close they all are. "My brother taught me that being different isn't a problem to solve. It's a pattern to respect. The world doesn't need to fix what's unique. It needs to understand it, because every time we choose empathy over embarrassment, the signal gets clearer." Eli's voice joins softly in the background. "Mom used to say that kindness is data you can feel. If you send enough of it out there, someone always sends it back." The screen fades to black. A faint pulse hums under the credits. Steady, comforting, familiar. Text appears, "For later." Dedicated to every mind that counts differently. Then silence. Not empty. Just full of everything we finally learned to hear. If this story made you pause, share it. Someone out there is still waiting for proof that difference is beautiful.